Hello students, welcome to Nisha Academy. Myself Sonal Advani, who will be teaching you today English literature. We'll start with our first chapter of your book Honeycomb, 3 questions. This chapter is related to a king who had 3 questions in his mind, and he was confused about the answers. So he asked various peoples to find the answer to his 3 questions. What are these 3 questions? Did he get the answers? How did he get the answers? This all thing you will study in today's chapter. It is a very interesting chapter and you would love to learn it. I will read the context here. We will read and learn together. You too read with me and I'll explain you with the reading. So we will start with our chapter 3 questions. The thought came to a certain king that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. These 3 things were: what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? So there was a certain king who had 3 questions. Which were these 3 questions? What is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? And what is the most important thing for him to do? Now, I will explain you in other languages also so that you are clear with the topic. उसको एक राजा था. There was a king. उसको 3 questions थे. What is the right time to begin something? मतलब कोई भी एक्टिविटी या थिंग या कुछ भी स्टार्ट करने के लिए राइट टाइम क्या होता है. सेकेंडली, कौन से लोगों को हमें सुनना चाहिए. टू whom should we listen while we have to do something, and what is the most important thing for him to do at that time. See, there are various people who gives you advices. To whom you have to follow, that you have to decide. So these were the 3 main questions that a king had. What is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? And what is the most important thing for him to do? Moving further, the king therefore sent messengers throughout his kingdom, promising a large sum of money to anyone who would answer these 3 questions. So what did Raja do to know the answers? He sent his messengers throughout the kingdom. Kingdom to say that whosoever will answer these 3 questions of the king, he would be rewarded. He would be given lot of money. A large amount of money would be given to him or her, whosoever answer his question wisely. Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his question differently. There were various wise men in king's kingdom. So there were various answers. All people have their own perspective, own thinking, own concepts and own answers to the questions. Now, what were their answers? See, in the reply to the first question, here there are various people. What did they answer about the first question? What was the first question? What was the first question? What is the right time to begin something? Means what would be the best time to start any activity. In reply to that questions, these are various answers. Some said king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. Suppose we are given a like an example, I would say first question, when to prepare for your exam. Which subject you have to prepare for your exam first and how to prepare for your exam. When is the right time, if your exam is in July, then how will you start your preparation? So first answer is prepare a timetable. Prepare a timetable of your various subjects and you can follow it strictly. Then you are rightly preparing for an exam. Same way for king, they said prepare a timetable of the work and follow it. Only in this way, they said, could he do everything at its proper time. Others said that if it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. Yes, it is different. You don't know the future. So if you don't know the future, how can you plan it? How can you decide in advance that what is the right time to do something? The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pressures, and always do whatever seemed necessary at the time. Yet others said that the king needed a council of wise men who would help him act at a proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly without help of others the right time for every action. The other people said that it is impossible to decide in advance. So he should have a group. Council means a group of wise men. What do you mean by wise men? Wise men means who have great knowledge and who can give you a better advice. They are called wise men. So one suggested king to prepare to make a council, a group of wise men who would help him to act at a proper time, because we singly we don't have all the knowledge of everything. So if you have a group of people who are knowledgeable in their field, you can decide the right time for every action. To this there was an counter argument that but then others said that there were some things which would be urgent. These things could not wait for the council. In order to decide right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future, and only magicians could do that. The king therefore would have to go to magicians. Means what was the difference opinion? Someone said to prepare a group of council. The other said that when you need to take decision urgently means at a time you have to decide something right now that you have to do or not do. At that time we cannot wait for council to come together and take a decision. So in order to decide the right time, we should look into the future. Means you need to think about the future. These are the consequences. These things can happen in future. Who can look into the future? Magicians. So one suggested the king to go to hire magicians, to bring magicians in the kingdom who will help him to decide the right time for every action. Now these were the answers for the first question. So what is the right time to do anything? What were the answers? That either prepare a timetable. One person said prepare a timetable and follow it strictly. Others said to make a group or council of wise men who would decide the right time for every action. And the third one said to hire the magicians, to bring magicians to the kingdom who can look into the future. These were the answers for the first question. Now moving to the third question. In their answer to the second question, some said that the people most necessary to the king were his counselors. Now what do you mean by counselors? Members of the council. Others said the priest. A few others chose the doctors, and yet others said that his soldiers were the most necessary. Now this was the answer to the second question. Now what was the second question? Anyone remembers the second question? Try to memorize. First question was what is the right time to do any action. second question was, to whom do you ask for the suggestions? Do you remember the second question? The second question was, to whom should the king listen for the action? To whose decision should he consider perfect? To whom he should ask for the suggestions? So some people said counselors. Counselor means members of the council. Council, we have studied, council means a group of people who can give advice. Some others said priest, some said doctors, some said soldiers. There were various answers that king should listen either to counselors, priests, doctors or soldiers. Now they also answered for the third question. Now what was the third question? The third question was, what was him to do at that time? Which decision should he follow and what should he do at that time? Now, like in second question, they said he should listen to priest, counselors, and he should, in first question, they said to prepare a timetable. Same way, in third question also, there were various answers. Some said science, others chose fighting, and yet others said religious worship. See, all the questions have all different answers by different people. There were various different answers. The king was not satisfied and no reward was given because he was not able to choose to whom he should follow. So he couldn't get satisfied with any answer for any question. So he did not rewarded anyone. He did not give anyone. Instead, he decided to seek the advice of certain hermit. What do you mean by hermit? A person who lives alone and leads a simple life. Who is very simple, who is not of part of kingdom, who has no royal money. He is a simple man who follows a simple standard of living. So now king decided that I should take advice of that person and I should personally go and meet a person who lives a very simple life, who is called hermit, who was widely known for his wisdom. So for today's session we would do this much. What did we do? Shall we recall it once? The chapter name is 3 questions. It is related to a king who had 3 questions. Which were these 3 questions? Which were these 3 questions? What is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? And what did he do? What did he do to do that? He sent messengers to the kingdom and also announced the reward. All the people gave different answers to all the 3 questions, but the king was not satisfied. So he decided to ask whom? Hermit. So for today's session, you have to go through this much part, learn the 3 questions, and once again read the passage. Thank you.